ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Buffalo SportsCenter video. I am Don. With me today is the co-founder of our Instagram, Cal. How are you doing today, Cal?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Well, the draft and free agency are both coming up very quickly for the Sabres, and this is a better time than not than to judge what Kevyn Adams, general manager for the Buffalo Sabres, has done in his first 2 seasons at the helm. So let's go through it move by move, all of his big moves to see if he is a good GM for the Sabres and the right man to lead us into the playoffs. Cal, very quickly, what are your thoughts overall on Adams?
Yeah, just a quick overview. I think Kevyn Adams has made a lot of very good moves as a GM and a lot of very bad moves in his short tenure so far. So I think we'll be very skeptical on some moves, but also praise him on quite a few others. So it'll be interesting to see each and every move.
Yep, I think so too. I think he's a very mixed bag, but from his very early negative stuff, I think right now it's been very positive, and as he gets more time with the job, he's been making savvier moves, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You could definitely see his experience level. As he goes, month by month, he seems to gain some more knowledge and gain a little respect from other GMs. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's start out now with his first couple moves all the way back in 2020 with the free agency moves that he made. And the biggest of the bunch, which I recently covered in the top 10 worst signings for the Sabres over the last decade, was Taylor Hall, 1 year, $8 million. But that wasn't the bad part. The bad part was we gave him a modified no trade clause, so he could choose wherever he'd go to if the Sabres were to fail and trade him at the deadline, which obviously we did. Cal, what do you think about this move?
I mean, initially when this happened, I was pretty excited, like a majority of the fan base. Taylor Hall coming into Buffalo, joining Jack Eichel. Maybe this guy was going to work. Maybe this guy would, gel the whole group together. Well, let's just say this guy was the opposite. Complete mess. Did not produce at all. Complete swing and a miss there. We thought maybe the Kruger-Hall connection would work some magic. Neither of those guys seemed to really help. I'm going to give this move, a solid F. This is as bad as it gets. Initially, like I said, I didn't mind the move, was pretty excited to see what would happen. The Sabres were one of the only teams willing to give him a big money deal, short term. So, was okay with the move when it happened, but absolutely horrible.
Yeah, hindsight is a bitch. And this one was really, really bad because of the return we got in a future trade, which we will get to later in the video. Hall got to choose where he went, and in my top 10 worst signing videos, I'm getting guys and people saying that, oh, the Hall trade, or the Hall move wasn't that bad. We got a solid return for him. No. The Sabres, had he not had that no trade clause, Hall would have been moved to the Islanders for a first-round pick and then some. No, the Sabres got significantly less and an even worse prospect from the Bruins, but we'll get to that later. Let's keep moving on now with a couple more signings he made. In his first offseason, he re-signed Victor Olofsson to a bridge contract, 2 years, $6.1 million. This one was also a bit of a mixed bag, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Victor Olofsson, I think still to this day, is still on that fence of, a good player, very good player, to a role player, only a power play guy. We don't truly know what Olofsson is, and that might be a little bit of an issue as we go into re-signing him. I'm personally on the team of, maybe re-sign him, but I don't want to pay him a lot because I still don't think he's proved himself. But with that being said, I think this bridge deal was middle of the road, kind of, we didn't know what we had in Olofsson. We still don't, so decent move.
Yeah, I guess so. And of course, there's a lot of debate over what's going to happen to Olofsson this offseason because that bridge contract is up. He's an RFA this offseason. There's a lot of trade rumors around him. Maybe we extend him. Sabres fan base seems very divided on what to do with Olofsson, but we'll see what Adams does. Another move was re-signing Sam Reinhart to a 1-year deal, $5.2 million. That would make him an RFA at the end of last season. How do you think this one ended?
Yeah, this one clearly did not end well for the Sabres because the Sabres, at the end of that 1 year, Sam Reinhart was absolutely done with Buffalo, and Buffalo couldn't do anything about it. They had to ship him off to Florida, and Reinhart just said he's done with Buffalo. You could see it in his face. He won the end of the year trophy, I believe the Rick Martin trophy or whatever it is. And that picture with him, I believe it was Kevyn Adams. You could tell Reinhart was disgusted, wanted no part of Buffalo after that. I personally love Sam Reinhart, but it was time for him to go, and this 1 year deal was kind of just irrelevant. We knew the end was near.
Yeah, I think so. This was always designed for him to be able to be shipped off, but it was tough. Maybe if we had signed him to a 2-year deal, we could have gotten more for him because teams wouldn't be just trading for his signing rights. They'd be signing for another year of him. I don't know. We still got a decent return from a first-round pick in Devin Levi, which, of course, we will discuss in further detail because a lot of these guys that were signed in this first offseason were traded later.
Yeah, these guys will get brought up later in the video. A lot of these guys early on.
And there's a couple more GOATs that I want to talk about here. The biggest of the bunch being Cody Eakin.
Oh,
I don't know why we signed him. I hated the move from the beginning. We signed him a 2-year, $4.5 million contract. For what? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it was the hair. Maybe it was his face-off abilities, which were marginal at best. But we did sign him, and Cal, what's your very good opinion on him?
well, I'm gonna start off by saying, the first year the Vegas Golden Knights joined the league, I was pretty big on them. I'd watch, the occasional game or two a week. I'd keep up with them just because, it was something fresh, something new, and the Sabres were not a very good team. So, I'd watch every single Sabres game, but I'd keep an eye on Vegas. And one thing I noticed is Cody Eakin was a solid player. He wasn't as bad as he was in Buffalo. So initially when we got Eakin, I thought, maybe this guy will contribute short term just until, our young guys come up. Well, this turned into one of the worst players that I've seen. Completely irrelevant on the ice, just horrible turnover after horrible turnover. I think the only good that came out of Cody Eakin was his hair, and maybe a few funny jokes along the way. So yeah, not a great move.
Nah, it was a pretty horrible move from the beginning. It was this pickup and also getting Tobias Reeder. 1 year, $700,000. I think these two guys combined for less than 10 goals in all of their time here in Buffalo. It's been pretty bad.
Yeah, Tobias Reeder was just another player that was just a wonder to watch on the ice. It was just horrible move after horrible move, but a cheap deal, something that we weren't expecting to get a McDavid out of, or even a middle of the road guy by any means. Just a guy to plug out there, fill a spot for a year or two, and you could say that's what he did.
I mean, he plugged it. I'm not sure how good he was while doing it. And another guy plugging a spot lower down the lineup was Brandon Montour, who the Sabres re-signed. 1 year, $3.85 million. Another guy that was later traded that season because, of course, the team collapsed. What do you think of Montour? A very intriguing guy when looking back at his career.
Montour is a very interesting player. I always saw a lot of potential in him. I know when we first got him from the Ducks, a lot of Ducks fans were very upset that we ended up getting him. They liked his ability to move the puck, his offensive, defensive characteristics, but overall, he never really prospered in Buffalo. I didn't really see that coming of age moment where he was just able to really turn into himself. He seemed very hesitant on the blue line, refused to be his offensive self that he really plays his best at. So overall, I thought it was probably a good idea to sign him short term. I didn't really see a future with him.
No, and the same he falls into that same category as now Colin Miller. Both two guys we picked up for pretty steep prices under previous GMs, and neither of which really panned out here in Buffalo. Unfortunately, Montour would also be traded, and he's now just a middling-of-the-road defenseman for the Panthers. Hasn't really lived beyond any expectations that we've seen with some of the other guys the Sabres would trade or sign away, and they'd prosper. Montour's not one of them. He kind of stayed at that same very mediocre level of play. And let me add, he was one of the worst defensemen in the NHL in his last season in Buffalo, so he was not good.
Yeah, in Florida, he's the same exact player, just on a better team. That's what I've seen so far.
Yeah, pretty much. Now let's talk about some of the major trades that Kevyn Adams made in his first summer, and the first of which was a move that I loved at the beginning, and it was when the Sabres acquired Eric Stahl in a 1-for-1 trade, and we shipped away Marcus Johansson, another bottle dud. We got Eric Stahl, a veteran, to be our second line center, and Cal, how did that turn out for the Sabres?
Another horrible move that at first we thought was going to be great. And, Marcus Johansson never really got a fair shot in Buffalo. I think we put him in the wrong spot. I think he was a better player than we, gave his opportunities to. We forced him into that center role, which he really wasn't. And he just kind of had to play like middle of the line and never really had success in Buffalo. So trading him for Eric Stahl seemed like a wonderful move. We bring in a legitimate center who can, bring that leadership. Let's just say he brought absolutely nothing to the table in Buffalo. And another guy we ended up trading later down the line. So not great.
No, it wasn't at all. I do appreciate what Kevyn Adams was trying to do. He brought in veteran, proven talent in this offseason with Taylor Hall, Marcus Johansson, Cody Eakin, 3 of these guys that all have had extensive experience in the NHL. All of them have been on winning teams at some point or another, except for Taylor Hall, kind of. And none of these moves panned out for the Sabres. None of them. It's kind of unfortunate, too. In any other organization, I could have seen all 3 of these guys flourishing. Kevyn Adams would have been hailed as a great GM, but no, he's kind of a mixed bag because of these moves.
Yeah, and I think it's more unlucky than, skill-based. I think Kevyn Adams really had a good plan going in. I think these moves would have worked on another team, but, bring in, the Buffalo culture is not really there. I think at present day, there is a completely new culture than there was in 2020, and we got to remember, in 2020, the Sabres had a coach who was, dare I say, one of the worst coaches that's ever stepped behind an NHL bench. Yeah. So with that being said, these moves, we can't really reflect the end result too much on Kevyn Adams' overall performance.
No, we can't. And you're right. The Sabres had one of the worst coaches ever overseeing these guys. And I am making a big-time video about that, so keep those notifications on for that. But, it was just, I was excited about this season. I didn't think the Sabres would make the playoffs, but I thought they'd at least be competitive. Unfortunately, we got the exact opposite. But let's keep moving on now to a bunch of mid-season trades. So, let's paint a picture now. The Sabres are dead last. They've lost 18 straight games. They've won 6 games all season long, 16 points, fewest number of 5-on-5 goals. Taylor Hall's got 2 goals. Jack Eichel had 2 goals. Sam Reinhart was popping off at least. And Rasmus Dahlin was in the middle of his worst season ever in Buffalo. Ralph Kruger was just fired and Don Granato stepped in. So, just picture a dumpster fire. Let's get a big dumpster fire on the screen. Dumpster fire time. And this is when the Sabres started selling everything. And it started with a very minor move like Jonas Johansson going to Colorado, who was not a good goalie in Buffalo or Colorado. But here we go to the big trades, and the first of these being Eric Stahl, familiar face, being shipped out after a very bad season to Montreal for a 3rd and a 5th round pick in 2021. How do you think this trade did looking back on it?
I remember at that trade deadline, I was like, all right, Stahl, we really are aiming for a 2nd round pick. That's what I wanted. The 3rd and 5th, it got the job done. I mean, Stahl was just so bad with the Sabres, didn't really, produce at all. So getting some picks for him wasn't bad. It wasn't like a win of a trade, but I'd say, it was kind of a tie. Stahl later had, a lot more success in Montreal than in Buffalo, but still not a huge aspect of the team.
No. Yeah, he was nothing at that point. And last time I heard of him was he tried out for an AHL team. I don't even think he made the AHL team. So he's really gone down. Sorry for you, Eric, but he's kind of, his body's worn out. Father time caught up to him, and he's out of hockey at this point. Another big trade that happened was Brandon Montour going to Florida for a 3rd round pick. And considering we got him for a first round pick a couple of seasons back, this was a very disappointing trade.
Yeah, we definitely didn't get what we paid for him back. But like you said earlier, he was one of the worst rated defensive defensemen in the league at this time. So with that being said, a third round pick isn't too bad. But again, another foul of an attempt to get someone and maybe flip them for more. Definitely didn't get his value there.
No, we really, really didn't. I remember first in Brendan Goulet, who hasn't panned out in the NHL either, so maybe we did good getting rid of him. But that
Yeah.
first round pick, why?
Again,
Why?
the NHL draft too. If it's anything but a first round pick, it's up in the air. It's not like another league. So
No, it's not the NBA, it's not the NFL where you can find gems anywhere. The NHL is very unpredictable. And this is probably the worst move ever by Kevyn Adams in his tenure with the Sabres. And it came at the deadline when the Sabres sent forward Taylor Hall to arch rivals Boston Bruins and Curtis Lazar as well in exchange for a 2021 second round pick and Anders Bjork, who is the best Sabres in history. One of the best players ever to play for the Sabres. Cal, how do you feel about this trade?
yeah, absolutely horrible. Like you said, probably the worst move. Taylor Hall at the time didn't have that much value at all, but for the contract he was under and what, just his name value alone, getting that return is horrible. Sending Curtis Lazar, I actually liked Curtis Lazar before he bashed out against Buffalo after that trade. Talk about that maybe in another video. But yeah, Curtis Lazar was, that gritty, third, fourth line guy that I thought we needed. Shipped him off, got Andres Bjork back. I know, Boston fans were pretty happy about this deal, but a lot of them did like Bjork. I can tell you right now, Bjork, not part of the future. I think he's ran himself out the league. So with that being said, yeah, an absolute, I'd say D- or F on this trade. It was brutal. I remember staying up for this when it happened, late night, and it was just so disappointing.
Yeah, especially when I mentioned earlier that Lou Lamoriello had called the Sabres. They had a trade in place, but Taylor Hall blocked a move to go to the island because he didn't think they would win. Well, guess what happened in the playoffs? The Islanders knocked the Bruins out. So, Hall, we could have gotten a first round pick if you just said yes to New York. Just say yes, and we could have been really happy with this trade. Once again, another thing not panning out for Kevyn Adams, but he did give that no trade clause to Hall in the first place. So, Sabres fans, if you defend this trade, please don't. Please don't. That's a very cold take there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think this was a good trade, come on the show. We'll debate it out.
We will debate you on it, okay? Yeah, you can access us in the Discord and we will destroy you. Anyways, let's keep moving on now to the summer where the fire sale continued for the Sabres. The first of the three big marquee trades that happened this summer was the Sabres sending Rasmus Ristolainen to the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for a first round pick, a second round pick, and Robert Hagg. So we went from the worst trade of Adams' career to the best one, I think, in this Risto trade. What do you think?
I think the depression might be over. What a move from Kevyn Adams. Rasmus Ristolainen, I know a lot of people in Buffalo liked him. I was on the fence with him. I thought he brought some good qualities, but overall, the numbers just were absolutely atrocious when you got into the analytics. And, signing him to a big term deal was not anything that I even wanted to think of. So this trade was huge. Getting that first round pick, Robert Hagg, which I know quite a meme between, inner community here. Robert Hagg, actually played pretty good for the Sabres for the first half of, you could say last season, whatever. So, at the time of this move, absolute steal. And, to this day, I still think this is an incredible move.
Well, even with hindsight, it's looking more and more like a highway robbery because Risto, his last season with Philly, oh, wow. I don't even think he hit 20 points. It was bad. It was really, really bad. So to get a first round pick, a second, that is just mwah. A plus for Kevyn Adams here. Absolutely amazing. The good times keep on rolling with the Sam Reinhart trade, which at the time was met with mixed reception, but now is looking more and more good. The Sabres sent him to the Florida Panthers, just as rights, in exchange for a first-round pick, which is going to be picked in this week. That's the 28th overall, I think, and Devin Levi. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, great trade. At the time, I know a lot of Sabres fans were very mixed on this. More so sad, to see Sam Reinhart go. A kid who, was drafted by the Sabres. A lot of people, wanted to see him race the cup with the Sabres one day. That was kind of the dream. Michael Reinhart, but looking at this trade, this is big. I think during the draft, the Sabres could get very creative with this first round pick. They might, maybe a trade, maybe something. This end of the first round, probably not going to get a huge valuable pick out of this, but you could definitely get put this in a trade package somehow. And then Levi could be the future in that. Very high praise from Kevyn Adams. Definitely a guy we want to lock up. I know, unfortunately, he is going back to college next year, but still, I think after next season, he is Buffalo's plan.
Yeah, absolutely. With all the uncertainty around UPL, it was important for the Sabres to get another huge goalie prospect. So we have UPL, Eric Portillo, who sounds less and less likely of signing here with Buffalo, and Devin Levi, who, on the other hand, sounds like he will sign next season. It's a very good trade. I loved it from the beginning. I was one of the few who were outright loving it. More and more people are starting to hop on the love train. I join you guys. Join with me, all you haters. Haters, come here. We love this trade. And we also love the other big trade this offseason where the Sabres acquired Will Butcher. No, I'm just kidding. we we traded Jack Eichel to the Vegas Golden Knights along with a third round pick in 2022 in exchange for, say it with me, Alex Tuch, Peyton Krebs, a first round pick, and a second round pick. Oh, baby. Loving this trade. I love this.
Absolutely. This was the nightmare that we thought may never end. We finally got him out of here. Jack Eichel, see you later. And this return, absolutely beautiful. That first round pick, second round pick, you could say what you want about it, but first round pick, loved it. Alex Tuch seems like the face of Buffalo at this point. I mean, homegrown kid, absolutely embracing the city, the town, everything about it. And Peyton Krebs, who I'm going to say it right now, Peyton Krebs is going to be a superstar. I see his ability, his passing. I think I'm going to give him 3 seasons. I think within 3 seasons, he'll be putting up Braden point numbers. I see that in him. So we can hope, but.
Yeah, absolutely. This trade, absolutely fantastic. And another one, like Reinhardt, where the Sabres fan base was very skeptical. A lot of hard emotions here because they just shipped off the face of the franchise. But we unknowingly, I think we got another one. Like you said, Alex Tuch is the face of this team right now. And while the world or across America, across the league, they might not understand it and see it, Sabres fans, we are seeing it up close and personal right now. The love that Tuch has been giving this city and this team, a team that desperately needs this positivity. It's a good feeling, and this trade helped turn the locker room around, I think. Just incredible.
Absolutely.
Now let's get on to a couple more minor moves. Since that trade, we've seen a lot of a certain man, Mr. Future Considerations. He's been traded 4 times by the Sabres. Of course, that Will Butcher trade that I just made fun of, which was bad. Butcher is bad. We also got Johnny Boychuk in another salary cap move. We got Malcolm Subban, who has done more with his, let's give him a round of applause for that national anthem stuff. Yeah, I think I want to sign a petition. While we may not keep him as a member of the Bigs team, maybe we can just keep him around to sing our national anthems. Why not? Like, guys, give Malcolm our love.
Absolutely. The Sabres currently have a void in that national anthem singer since Doug Allen was kind of forced out / left through the vaccine stuff.
Yeah.
I think we have a void. Malcolm, if you want to sign, maybe a long-term deal as the singer. Love to have him around. As far as the goalie, maybe after that singing contract expires, you can be like the E-Bug or something. We'll see.
Dude, we want you to. Wow, yeah, I have seen a lot of fans. Hey, he's a great character. He's a real nice guy. He's a really nice guy. but he's not so good in the net. Outside of that one save against the Penguins, wow, that was a
Yeah,
great save, by the way.
that was something.
And then he'd give up 7 goals to the Carolina Hurricanes in another game. So he's not a very good or consistent goalie, but we love you, man. Your character, you seem awesome. Come on the show. We love you, Malcolm.
Malcolm, if you want to have PK Subban too, join the Sabres next year, would not be opposed. Make a little recommendation.
Yeah, please do it. And, of course, we also got Ben Bishop and another salary cap move in exchange for, you guessed it, Mr. Future Considerations. I think we should get Mr. Considerations on.
Yeah, I think he deserves to be. I mean, he's really been, in Sabres history, he's really been a huge factor in a lot of these trades.
Yeah.
Mr. Future Considerations. How do you think he's played throughout his career, Future Considerations?
Well, let's see here. Back in 2017, when he came on and put up 90 goals for the Sabres, I thought he was really good that year. But then he put up 0 and kind of pulled a Ville Leno and only got 10 assists. So he's been very inconsistent for the Sabres. So I think that's why we traded him, got him back, traded him again, and we did that about 4 times. And look, he's got good trade value. We've been getting a lot of salary cap moves from him. So, Mr. Future, wherever you are out there, we know that you may be toxic after all of these moves, but we still love you here in Buffalo. We'd love to see you come back from Dallas and make a record or 2 here in Buffalo. I meant play for us a couple times, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be back. We know, and he'll probably be traded again. But we do have the salary cap, though. On a more serious note, we have a ton of salary cap. So these salary cap dumps, it's I see a lot of fans on Twitter, on Instagram, on all social media is like, why are we picking up retired guys? This is just another move for the Sabres to get to the floor and do nothing. Mm-hmm. This is different. The Sabres have so much cap space right now. I've mentioned this a few times. They could sign Letang, Malkin, and another middle-to-round guy and still be only at the cap floor. So with that being said, the Sabres have so much cap room right now that they can afford to do these things and still build a good team.
Yeah, they can do whatever they like. And with the Bagulas, well, maybe just Terry right now, Kim, prayers for Kim. They seem really reinvigorated as with the rest of the organization, because there was a couple years there that the Bagulas didn't want to spend money, even though we saw right in the Tim Murray years when they spend lots of money. Now they may be willing to spend money again because they like Kevyn Adams. We always thought he was their puppet, but now he may be a little more than that, I think.
Yeah, I think for sure. I think the trust has been up, and I believe that the Sabres organization is making huge strides forward. And I think the Pagulas are finally starting to put their trust in the Sabres like they have already the Bills. So we can hope.
Yeah, we can only hope. Of course, free agency will be on the 13th. The draft is this week, folks, so watch out. A lot of stuff's going to be happening here very soon for the Sabres. We may see a very new team by the end of next week. Anyways, I was Don. This was Cal. We just judged you, Kevyn Adams, so please don't take any hard feelings over this. You seem like a good guy, and we are really liking what he has been doing recently for the Sabres. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this very, 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 very long video. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And see y'all in the next video. Peace.